Another thing that you guys have popularized recently is these more aggressive reversals of the diet after a competition. For years, it was reverse diet, slowly go up, super slow, and I think only really in the last year this more aggressive approach has gotten popular, and I think again because of you guys. So what made you switch to that?
Ooh, well, for starters, I think it helps with, for sure, the body dysmorphia side of things, and I think for people who are just getting into competing, it's part of what makes them good is yeah, being obsessive about their body composition, right? So it kind of gets them out of there like quickly, and you know how it is. Once you're in your off-season body, you're like, okay, I got you. I'm used to it. But people were taking, ah, man, sometimes like if they nailed the so-called reverse diet, right? Um, they would, be maybe, 6, 7% above their contest weight, and here we are 5 months later, and they're having a hard time letting go of the shreds, and at the same time, they're not making, really any valuable progress. Um, so that's a huge one. It's just kind of getting their mind right, and then with that, you're also going to see with an assertive recovery diet where you are intentionally gaining weight at a pretty rapid rate. You will see that also. All things hormonal pick up. Your training starts to be predictable again, and what I have found is that we hear about those guys that they're like, you know what, I'm going to keep it tighter, and post contest prep, it's like I don't know, like 8, 9% above contest weight is where they like to be. That's not really their set point. If that was your set point, that's where you'd be chilling out this whole time. So by kind of expediting them to that 8 to 9% above contest weight in say a month, um, they start to see the progress happen at the rate that they're used to in the off season, and I feel that that automatically just shifts a lot of things, especially psychologically speaking, because if there is one thing about our sport, it's and where it taxes you the most. It's not necessarily just the body, but it's a lot of the obstacles that we face on the mental side of things. So that's probably to me the part that has been really good to see actually unfold the way we predicted it would with the recovery diet. Is that people just tend to get normal a lot faster. Um, and I think one tall tale of the reverse diet is that you could supercharge your metabolism, I guess, to these new heights, and it doesn't really work that way in practice. You might be able to up, say 500 calories, and you're still relatively at contest weight, but that was the deficit you were working with, because you have extra food, the need picked up. But all this time, you look good, but you don't feel good, and you should feel good in the off season. So usually people who would reverse up and the way it looked on paper is that they had increased their metabolism when again all they really did is closing the gap within that deficit. On the way back down they end up hitting the exact same obstacles. It's like if at 175 pounds you always have to dip below 2000 calories. Well, guess what, it's going to be the exact same wall on the way down, and you really can't change that, and a lot of that just goes back to what your body fat set point is and where your body would prefer to be.
Yep. Yeah, what's interesting with that is I've actually noticed. I know, obviously, in theory, the heavier you get, the more calories you would need to maintain. But I've noticed that for me, when dieting over the years, it is much more correlated with what is my current body fat, and by that I mean, you know, at 195 pounds, if I was, let's say, 15% body fat, my maintenance really was similar to when I was 175 and 15% body fat years and years ago. Like, it was more that my body was just, it threw up more thresholds to overcome at a certain body fat, and regardless of how heavy I got, when I got down to closer to 10%, it was still sub 2000, even though I had another 20 pounds of muscle. It just, the body mechanisms to hold on to that fat just ramp up.
Yeah, you really can. I mean, your body has a blueprint for how things work, and there's no changing that. There's
Yeah.
no changing that.